Gregor Johann Mendel, 1822–1884, was an Austrian scientist and Augustinian friar who is often referred to as the father of modern genetics for his pioneering work in understanding how traits are inherited from one generation to the next. His groundbreaking experiments with pea plants laid the foundation for the laws of inheritance, which later became the basis for the field of genetics. Early life. Mendel was born on July 20, 1822, in Heinzendorf, now Hinsis, Czech Republic, in what was then the Austrian Empire. He came from a farming family, and his early experiences on the farm likely influenced his interest in plants. Mendel showed an aptitude for learning from a young age, but his family was poor, and paying for education was difficult. Despite this, he was able to attend school thanks to the support of his family and community. After completing his initial studies, Mendel entered the Augustinian monastery of St. Thomas in Brno, now in the Czech Republic, in 1843. The monastery was a center for learning and scientific research, and it was here that Mendel was able to further his education in mathematics and science. He was also ordained as a priest. Scientific work. In the monastery, Mendel became interested in natural sciences, particularly botany. He began conducting experiments on pea plants in the monastery's garden. Between 1856 and 1863, Mendel conducted meticulous experiments on around 29,000 pea plants to study how traits like seed shape, flower color, and plant height were passed down through generations. Mendel chose pea plants because they had easily observable traits and could be easily manipulated through controlled pollination. He meticulously recorded the traits of each generation and noticed patterns in how traits were inherited. Through his experiments, Mendel identified that some traits are dominant while others are recessive, and that these traits are passed down according to specific ratios, now known as Mendel's laws of inheritance. Mendel's laws. 1. Law of segregation. Each organism carries two alleles for each trait, and these alleles segregate during the formation of gametes, egg and sperm, with each gamete receiving only one allele. During fertilization, offspring receive one allele from each parent. 2. Law of independent assortment. Genes for different traits are passed independently of one another from parents to offspring, as long as the genes are on different chromosomes. These principles were revolutionary at the time, but Mendel's work initially went unnoticed by the broader scientific community. Later life and death. In 1868, Mendel became abbot of the monastery, which significantly reduced the time he could devote to his scientific research. Furthermore, his experiments were largely ignored by the scientific community during his lifetime. He faced difficulty in getting recognition for his work, and he became more involved in administrative duties at the monastery. Mendel passed away on January 6, 1884, without seeing the impact his research would have on science. His work remained obscure until the early 20th century when it was independently rediscovered by three scientists, Hugo de Vries, Carl Correns, and Erich von Tschermak. They recognized the importance of Mendel's experiments, and his findings became the cornerstone of modern genetics. Legacy. Today, Mendel is celebrated as one of the most important figures in biology. His discoveries helped establish the field of genetics, and his laws of inheritance remain fundamental to our understanding of how traits are passed down in all living organisms. Mendel's work also paved the way for later discoveries, including the identification of DNA as the molecule responsible for heredity. Though he lived a quiet and relatively unrecognized life, Mendel's meticulous experiments and analytical approach revolutionized biology and genetics, forever changing the way we understand inheritance and variation in living organisms.